There is so much content out there for Marvel Champions, so I'm making this video to tell you exactly what you need to buy. Welcome to Nelson All Over Cards. I am Nelson, and today we are talking about a buying guide for Marvel Champions as of the end of 2022. Now, this guide is going to be as future-proof as possible. We're going to talk about the previous expansions that have been released, but we're going to talk more about a general overview of what type of content there is for Marvel Champions. I've added chapters to the video, so if you're interested in specific parts of the content release for Marvel Champions, maybe heroes or scenario packs, you can hop to right there. And then at the very end, there's an overview. So if you want to skip all the way to the end, you are more than welcome to do so to see kind of what the buying order is. Now that we've kind of explained all of that and how the video is going to work, let's talk about Marvel Champions. Marvel Champions is broken up into 3 different types of content releases, or 4 if you include the core box. I went back and forth on whether or not I should, but here we are. So there's the core box, there are hero packs, there are campaign boxes, and there are scenario packs. All of these are very different, and we're going to talk about each one in turn. The core box is needed to play. Not only does it give you all of the tokens that you need, your threat tokens, your health trackers, all of that, it gives you your standard and your expert cards that are going to go in every single game of Marvel Champions you play. Even if it wasn't required to play, I would highly recommend this as being your first purchase into the game because it's the best bang for your buck by far. It comes with 5 different heroes. You get Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man, Iron Man, and I always forget the She-Hulk. I always forget She-Hulk for some reason. Some of my favorite heroes are in this box, even after having 30 plus heroes. Spider-Man, Iron Man, Captain Marvel, Black Panther, and I mean, honestly, probably not She-Hulk, but those 4 are still some of my favorite to play. Not only do you get the 5 heroes, you get 3 different villains, Rhino, Claw, and Ultron, who are all phenomenal. In addition to the standard and expert cards, it does come with 5 modular sets. Really quick aside, modular sets are a deck of cards that you shuffle in with the villain cards to make the matchups a little different, and you can swap those in and out. Now, every single scenario is going to have specific recommended sets. I'd recommend that you play the first game with those, but then you have modular sets that you can swap in and out, making the game significantly different and adding to that replayability. So the modular sets do increase that replayability and are not tied to one specific scenario. The core box is excellent. I think this is one of the best core boxes for an LCG that we have seen when compared to like Arkham or Lord of the Rings, and highly recommend you buy this. This is going to give you so much replayability. I will warn you that if you do buy this, you probably will want to dive into more of the game. So with that little bit of warning, but if you're watching this video, you probably already know that. So let's talk about the hero packs. I think the hero packs are probably the smartest thing that FFG did for this game. These are hero packs that come with a fully playable deck around a specific hero. So you can buy the Quicksilver hero pack and you get Quicksilver the hero, 15 cards, and then a playable deck you open and put it on the table. You can play it in 5 seconds. They also come with some extra aspect cards that usually kind of lean into the strength of the heroes. So like if you're playing with Miss Marvel, she comes with a fully playable green, sometimes they're called precons or pre-constructed deck. And also in that hero pack, you have Justice, Leadership, and Aggression, and probably a basic card. I don't quite remember what she came with, but there are other cards that you can use to build your deck around. If there are specific heroes that you want, then buy them, right? They're around $17 right now. You can find a lot of them on sale. They go on sale every once in a while in the $12 to $15 range, but it's pretty good value for your money. It's not the best, but it's probably the way that you're going to get that exact hero that you want. There are also heroes that lean into a specific playstyle or come with cards that are excellent for a certain like archetype that you want to be running. And if there is an archetype that you're interested in, starting next month, I'm starting a brand new series where I'm talking about all of the different aspects and the archetypes in them, where I will be calling out different heroes and different hero packs that you should get if you want to lean into that. Follow along if you want to see those. Or if you're watching post December 2022, then those videos are going to be linked below, and hopefully that will help you find them a little bit easier. But hero packs are a really cool way to get the exact hero that you want, but they're not the best bang for your buck. The best bang for your buck are the campaign boxes. Outside of the core set, I guess. So I'm assuming you've bought the core set. The campaign boxes are the best value for your money. They all contain 2 different heroes and 5 villains. Now these heroes also come with the same pre-constructed deck where you're getting a lot of aspect cards, you're getting new allies and new upgrades and supports and events and all of that, along with the 2 heroes and their 15 cards. They do come with 5 villains and then a plethora of modular sets. There are currently 5 different campaign boxes and they're all very different. So let's talk about each one of them briefly. The first one is Rise of Red Skull. In my opinion, this is the best campaign to start out with. So if you have the core box and you are looking for that next thing, you don't necessarily have a hero that you like, oh, I need Wolverine, then Rise of Red Skull is probably going to be the campaign that I recommend you start out with. This comes with 2 heroes, Spider-Woman and Hawkeye, and it's a really nice intro to the game. The villains are fun, but not super complex, and it's just a really solid pickup. I find myself going back to a lot of the villains in the Rise of Red Skull campaign. I feel like the balance was really solid, and I recommend Rise of Red Skull as your first pickup. The next one that came out is the one I recommend the least, which is Galaxies Most Wanted. So this does come with Rocket and Groot, who are 2 of my favorite heroes, but by far my least favorite villains and scenarios that they have produced. It's the hardest campaign, with some of the scenarios being even too hard that they're just unfun. I would actually avoid this one until you are done collecting the other scenarios or the other campaign boxes, or if you find it on sale, that would be a good time to pick it up, because honestly, Rocket is incredibly fun and I just love Groot. Following the Galaxy's Most Wanted box, we have the Mad Titan Shadow. This comes with 2 heroes, Adam Warlock and Spectrum. And it's a nice campaign. It's solid. I would say it's one of those that after you pick up Red Skull, Mad Titan Shadow, you can't go wrong with buying this one. You get to fight Thanos, you get to fight Loki. A lot of these like iconic villains are in this box. And so this is a really cool one to kind of start. They also, in this one, start to get a little weird with some of the matchups. So you have scenarios with 2 villains and stuff like that. So Mad Titan Shadow, I think, is a nice like 2nd to 3rd pickup. After that, we had Sinister Motives, and Sinister Motives is all about the Spider-Verse. So it comes with Miles Morales, Spider-Man, and Ghost Spider. This is my favorite campaign. Not necessarily my favorite villains, but with these campaign boxes, you can play the villains as in like a sequential order, and there's a campaign mode where you can get rewards and stuff, and which leads you into the next one, which will increase your likelihood of winning, but also throw some more challenges at you as you go throughout the campaign. And I think that Sinister Motives had the best campaign style, where you're building up reputation, S.H.I.E.L.D. is coming to help you and giving you fun new toys, but also the villains are starting to get harder. Sinister Motives, if you're looking for like a really solid campaign experience, this is the closest you're probably going to get with Marvel Champions. And then the latest one that we have as of Q4 2022 is Mutant Genesis, which is X-Men. If you like X-Men, you have to go with this one. This one, we were actually kind of surprised. So the kind of community consensus was that we were thinking that this Mutant Genesis box was going to be a little bit on the more simple side, not necessarily less difficult, but less intricate villains. And that's just not true. We thought a lot of people were going to be coming in with X-Men, so they may want to lower that complexity down a little bit to help accommodate some of the new people coming in. And that just didn't happen. It is actually a fairly complex scenarios, or it does come with some fairly complex scenarios. The heroes are Colossus and Shadowcat, which are pretty high-tech heroes that take a little bit of time to get used to. The villains are very well balanced. There's some really cool matchups in there. This one is a good, probably 2nd, 3rd pickup, I believe. The X-Men are really cool. There's just a lot going on. And so that's my only hesitation with recommending this as like your first pickup, like over Rise of Red Skull, is that the villains and the heroes are a little more complex than what we see in Red Skull. It would be nice to have that little stepping stone, but I believe in you all. If you want X-Men, you're going to be fine diving right into Mutant Genesis. And then the last type of release that we have for Marvel Champions are the scenario packs. The scenario packs provide unique villains or matchups that are a really cool way to just kind of shake up the game. These are probably the least important to get, but they can provide some fun and unique challenges. Similar to the campaign boxes, there are not too many of these right now, so let's talk about each one of them briefly, and I can kind of give you a very snippet review of each one of them. The first one that came out was Green Goblin. Green Goblin is 2 different scenarios. There's Mutagen Formula, which is a pretty difficult, high minion, really tough scenario. I find myself going back to Mutagen Formula when I think I have a deck that I think is really solid and I want to take it up against a challenge. Mutagen Formula is pretty solid. The other side to, sorry, that was kind of a pun, because the other one is Risky Business, which has your villain flipping back and forth. That's why I said the other side, and my mind just kind of went there. But anyways, Risky Business is a little bit easier, but it's a really fun scenario. There's the villain at this point is flipping to their alter ego form. So you're flipping between Green Goblin and Norman Osborn, and you can't attack Norman when he's in his alter ego. And you can when Green Goblin, and he's always wanting to flip back to Norman to kind of keep in the shadows. And so it's a fun scenario that is a little bit on the easier side. You can gamify it a little bit, but I highly recommend Green Goblin scenario pack. This is probably my favorite scenario pack that we have so far. Moving on to the next scenario that came out, we have the Wrecking Crew, which is an interesting setup. It has 4 different villains with 4 different main schemes, and you have to kill all 4 of the villains. This is interesting, but I would say it has very little replayability because there's no modular sets. Every time you set up, it's going to be the exact same, with maybe the option of flipping to maybe a harder side of the villain. But I find myself not playing this one now that I've kind of dived in and I've played it 5 to 10 times, just because it feels like the same experience over and over. So this one would probably be the last one that I recommend you pick up, but it can be pretty fun for those first couple of plays. After that, we do have another excellent multiplayer epic experience with Kang. So Kang is a really cool scenario and really shines in multiplayer. You can play it solo, but you kind of get the full experience once you do bring in a second or a third player, and that is because you start the game together. Just like a normal game, you're facing Kang. After you defeat the first stage of Kang, time warp happens and you get shifted into different dimensions and realities, and then everyone is playing their own game where they're taking on a different version of Kang in the multiverse, and then they have to handle their situation by themselves. And once they win, they can join someone else's multiverse, and then once everyone's defeated their second stage of Kang, they all come back together for a final showdown with the big bad level 3 Kang. And it does feel really cool. It's a very long scenario, but it's one of the villains that I very highly enjoy. And it's just, it's so cool because you have to kind of build your deck around being able to play as a team, but also be able to handle that second scenario or that second stage where you're alone. So I really like Kang. If that sounds interesting to you, if you're playing multiplayer, I think Kang is a great pickup for you. After Kang, we get the Hood. So the Hood, I think, technically is the best value for a scenario pack. I don't necessarily know if he's the best villain. I still think that probably goes to like maybe Green Goblin or Kang, depending on your specific situation. But the Hood is really cool because it comes with 9 different modular sets. This just gives you so much ability to just kind of mess with other scenarios as well. It also comes with the Standard 2 and Expert 2, which you can sub out for your Standard or Expert sets, which shakes up the game, makes it actually like significantly harder. Standard 2 and Expert 2 are, just take that level right up. And I think it's really good. I bought the Hood. I've played the Hood a couple of times, but I use the modular sets that come with the Hood very frequently. I think that some of my favorite modular sets do come from this scenario pack. And once you have kind of dived into the campaigns and have swapped up everything, if you're looking for that next challenge with Standard 2 and Expert 2, or if you're just looking for more ways to shake up the game with 9 mod sets, the Hood is an excellent pickup for you. And then the last one that has been announced, by the time this video is released, it will be out. However, it is not out as of the recording, is Mojo Mania. So this is a 3-game mini campaign. I have not played it, but it looks really, really interesting. So I feel like this may be one of those that you buy after some of the campaign boxes, but I don't want to say too much before I play it. I want to kind of play it, experience it, and then I can give a full review after that. But Mojo Mania, I did want to call out as being a available option. So let's dive into the summary. So if you watched the rest of the video, I'm going to recap everything. If you skipped all the way here, welcome back. We are going to talk about what I would do if I was starting brand new. If I had no Marvel Champions, this is what I would buy in the following order. The first thing I would buy is the core set. Highly recommend. There are ways that you can get around playing the game without the core set. It's not worth it in my opinion. Buy the core set. After that, I would buy Rise of Red Skull. That brings in a lot of really cool villains, some interesting heroes, and just a lot of variability to what you already have with the core set. After Red Skull, I would buy any heroes I was super excited to play, either with their playstyle or I just like the character, right? I really like Ant-Man, right? I want to play Ant-Man, buy Ant-Man's pack at that point. After that, I would buy Sinister Motives because of the campaign, and also I just love Spider-Man and think that they just did a really good job with those heroes. I would buy the Hood after that, so I could have access to more modular sets to increase the variability in the campaign or in the scenarios that I already had. And then after that, I would buy the other campaign boxes in pretty much any order I wanted. Then I would treat myself to the other hero and scenario packs. So that's kind of the overview of what I would buy when, and just because I feel like that's going to give you the most bang for your buck as you go through. But again, if you can't play this game, if you don't have Thor, buy Thor. This is not law. If this is an epic, sweet game because you get to play as heroes that we know and love from comics and movies. So if there is someone out there that you want, buy them right after the core box. Have fun with it. Thank you all so very much for hanging out. I hope that this video helped some people figure out what they needed to buy next. I do realize that this probably means that I'm just adding to my notoriety of a bad influence when I'm talking about what you should buy and spend your money on. I think I'm okay with being known as someone who helps people buy into this game because I love the game. I hope you love the game. And so this is a way that just kind of helps you get into it a little bit more. If you have any questions about any of the campaigns, any of the contents, any of the buying progression or anything, please let me know in the comments. I am always more than happy to help out. You can also join the Discord, and they're going to be bad influences. They're going to be supportive over there as well. So all of those links are down below. If you enjoyed this content, if you want to see the aspect analysis that we're starting next month, please go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and then we will get you all of that information. I do playthroughs, and I just like this game and all of the LCGs so very much. So if that sounds interesting to you, I invite you to follow along. Hope you have a good time with Marvel Champions. Also, if you bought the core game or if you bought something from this video, let me know because I'm kind of excited to hear how it goes because I'm always excited to hear how people play and their experiences with the game. Thank you very much and hope you have a fantastic rest of the day and year and life playing Marvel Champions. 0.